How we doing, YouTube? This is Silverback here. Today we're going to be taking my Dimir Flash deck into Ranked. You can see it on the screen now. We got Spectral Sailor, Brineborn Cutthroat, Threnody Singer, Blacklance Paragon, Cunning Nightbonder, Mystic Subdual, Starlit Mantle, Slitherwisp, Sea-Dasher Octopus, Brazen, and Lochmere Serpent at the very tip-top of the curve. A lot of low-costed spells that only get cheaper with the Cunning Nightbonder, and hopefully you'll see why I run so many cheap spells here in a minute. So, you might think running a lot of flash spells that are extremely cheap would make for a deck with less effective spells, but really no. I mean, I think a lot of these cards that I'm playing are underrated right now in the current standard. Mystic Subdual does a lot of work. You can see here as our opponent plays Priest of the Forgotten Gods and gets in. We go ahead and get down another land. We have a few options here as what to do, but Mystic Subdual can take the Priest of the Forgotten Gods and turn it into a forgotten card to do a pun. Very punny of me, I'm sure you all agree. So we're going to get it down. Maybe should have bounced the Priest instead, but or pounced maybe even the cap, but I don't want to get hit for one. He doesn't have an oven out. Thinking better of sending in the Priest. I'd say even if it looks clear, I always keep the Priest back when I play with the Priest of the Forgotten Gods. So again, flash cards, we can play at instant speed here. No sense in running things out into a bad situation or leaving things out to get stolen with the 1 mana red card and whatnot. So here I'm thinking get the Blacklance down and block. Probably get the Cunning Nightbonder out. Midnight Reaper should have changed my plans a little bit when he got the Midnight Reaper down, but I stuck with it. And looking back, I think that was a mistake. So we get the double block, we gain 3, get hit for 2. The opponent pings himself for 2, but draws a ton of cards. Oh. Not a good draw there. Lochmere Serpent, I don't want to see more than one of him a game. Maybe the other one if the initial one gets exiled, but to have 2 sitting in my hand is not ideal in most scenarios. It'd be nice to get both out, I suppose, but it's an awful lot of mana to get that dream accomplished. Oven comes out, so the opponent can cook the cat, draw some more cards. Decides to cook the priest here. I guess it was a dead card. We'll bounce the Midnight Reaper in response. It deals the 1 damage. He gets his card still. And he loses access to his oven for the end of the turn. Again, I need to draw some gas here pretty soon. Another land would be a decent draw. Another oven isn't what we want to see. So go ahead and get the Brazen Bower down now. That way we can put the Sea-Dasher on him, and yeah, without a land we're going to stick to the Sea-Dasher plan. We're going to put it underneath, so we do need to try to hit for more than our opponent's going to gain here. This can be a difficult matchup for us. It can also be pretty one-sided in our favor. I have other videos out where we beat up on Sacrifice pretty. Now we get the land. That's unfortunate. We beat up on him pretty good in some games, but we're not we're not getting the cards that we would need to make that happen. So we got to make it another turn, and we could probably get a Lochmere down. Of course, our opponent will be to 20 life by then. So at most, we can put him on a 3-turn clock after this one. Not really where we want to be with 3 cards in our hand. Cat Oven combo. I remember when Throne of Eldraine came out and that was discovered. It was a lot of fun, but now I think it's annoying a lot of people, to be honest. So we got the Mayhem Devil. Really bad for us here. He can wipe our board clean. Start hitting in for massive damage. You could swing in for 5 plus 4, about 9 damage a turn if we can't keep a blocker. There goes our Brazen Bower. Not feeling too good about where we're at here. We could keep playing, but at this point our opponent's going to gain more and more life. Even if we get the Lochmere down. Again, I think it might be too little too late. Especially when we're taking so much damage a turn. So we'll pass to our opponent's turn. I got a little on edge there and played the Lochmere out a little quicker than we needed to. Could have waited and held it up on his turn. But now he gets the Rankle out, and that's game right there. We can't keep the Lochmere on board. We're going to get pinged for too much. So we'll go ahead and give it to him there. So next game, already in progress. Our opponent played a tap land go. We play our land, shock ourselves for 2. Our opponent shocks himself to get his second land out. We'll get down our Spectral Sailor on the end of our opponent's turn, flash it in. We draw a tap land, but we're going to go ahead and play the Swamp, keep our options open. Opponent down to 17 and a Growth Spiral, so opponent ramping here. I think we can all guess what he's ramping towards. Again, I've stayed away from ranked because you play a lot of the Rakdos Sacrifice, the Reclamation, Mono Red Aggro, just a lot of the decks that usually come in, first place, second place, top 8 in tournaments. So of course people run them, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I like to come up with my own decks, my own way to play, and I like to play others who like to do the same. Again, we can all play top tier decks, and that's fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But sometimes it's nice to do your own thing. Slitherwisp on top, we like to see that. Of course, our opponent will have ways to deal with it, but he seems not to have the Reclamation yet. So that's a good sign for us. The opponent passes. We'll draw the Slitherwisp. We'll go ahead, get in for 2, draw another card, opponent to 16. We have to try to beat the Reclamation. Maybe we can get him down and out before he plays that. We need to then stay away from the Expansion Explosion. He could be holding a counter. We love to see 2 on the bottom. 2 on the bottom all day long. And there's Wilderness Reclamation. Opponent with 3 cards in hand. What's the odds of Expansion Explosion? Pretty good, I think. So we're going to go ahead and try to get the Slitherwisp down right now. Get it on the board and hopefully get the ball rolling on some cheap costed spells that we can start pinging our opponent with. Would love to get a Cunning Nightbonder out on top of it. The opponent is going to do a Shark Typhoon for 5. And we have ways to deal with that. We'll get to draw our card. Well, we'll draw several cards. But we'll ping it to the floor here so that we can get in with the Sea-Dasher Octopus. He blocks, so of course we don't want to lose our Slitherwisp. But this has forced me into a situation that I do not like to get into with this deck. And that's tapping out on my turn. I'd rather keep my mana up through my opponent's turn. So well played by our opponent, and gets down the blast zone. That's something we really don't want to see. Imagine he'll put 3 counters on it and blow up our 2/3 of our board, but we got a hand full of gas. We have a hand with a Lochmere Serpent in it, so we could get that down next turn. And there he goes. He's gonna get rid of our key cards, but that's a great draw here. Being able to bounce the Reclamation, hopefully on his turn, will be huge here. So we can go ahead, get in. Want to keep mana up in case we decide to do a Lochmere. Again, he's scrying. I believe this is his second time scrying with the Castle Vantress. Getting deep into his deck, and he bottoms 2 again. Such a good feeling to see your opponent searching and find nothing that he needs. Gives you hope. And we're clinging on. Right now we're double his life total, but that can change with a single card. Hard to cast Uro out of his graveyard. Again, not too big of a deal to us. He'll gain 3 life, up to 12. Considering that Expansion Explosion is incoming, we need to go ahead here and get our life total up. First, we'll bounce while he's low on mana. We'll try to bounce the Wilderness Reclamation. And we get a counter out of his hand, so that's okay. But we also need to try to gain some life while we can here, because we need to survive the Expansion Explosion. And he hits us with the counter, so go ahead and block and gain our 3 life and clear the board of 1 large threat. Still feeling like we're in this until we're not. So let's see what happens here. He taps 2 blue, and the opponent scries. So let's hope for another double bottom, and he sees something he likes, so that's going to be difficult for us. Let's go ahead and try to get some card draw of our own going here. Again, we need to get deeper into the deck. We'll go ahead and put it on top. I'm not worried about a shock or anything like that. At this point in the game, I want to get as much damage through as possible. Get him down to 10. Now looking, I have 6 mana up. I can still play a land, so that would be 7. We could play the Nightbonder for 2, leaving 5 open for the Lochmere Serpent, plus creating a situation where the Lochmere Serpent's uncounterable. Put us ahead on board. Maybe we could finish him off. See, he'll get in with Uro. Plus he has the Expansion Explosion. So that's, what is it, 4 to cast Explosion. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. So he might be able to finish us here. We'll see what happens. Taps all his lands. And I imagine he'll tap the rest. And there's the explosion. So we'll go ahead, not lethal. So we'll get Lochmere Serpent down. Now the opponent could always kill Cunning Nightbonder. He negates his own counter, so I'm not sure. I guess he has a handful of counters. Good thing we played it when we did. Things could have been a lot worse there. I'm not sure why he played both counters, but maybe a mistake on his part, and he taps out completely. Good sign for us. We need to end the game this turn, and luckily we have a fantastic card draw engine. So we got 11 damage on board. We need to find a way to get to 13. We can draw for Starlit Mantles. There's 3 in the deck. I don't think we've seen any. And we draw a Swamp, so that's just another dig for us. So we'll go ahead, dig again. And we hit a Slitherwisp. So we'll have 3 mana left. So with the cards in hand, that should be game. So we can get in for 11, do 2. Go ahead and put Sea-Dasher on. Make sure we put it on the bottom. Do not want to accidentally put it over. It has to go under. That would be a devastating misplay. And then we'll play the Spectral Sailor. And that'll be game. Opponent scoops up. So 1-1 so far. Good showing for our deck. Was Platinum Tier 4. We gain a win. Next game, we'll be playing against Copanchian. Good luck, opponent. See what you're playing. So 2 Cunning Nightbonders. Spectral Sailor. Again, I really don't like to start with a Lochmere Serpent, but we'll take it. We'll also take a Threnody Singer, or Threnody Singer, however you pronounce it. 2 land down. We'll let our opponent draw and play on the end of his turn. If he has a counter spell or something, we can always play our other. And it does hit the board here. And then Heartless Act off the board. So some sort of blue-black control shell. But we'll get our Cunning Nightbonder down nonetheless. And we'll see if our opponent tries to clear the board again. So Thought Erasure, popular blue-black card. We'll get the Spectral Sailor down as card draw. We're gonna lose our Sea-Dasher Octopus, I'm sure. That's the best hit. If you get rid of the Lochmere Serpent now, it's so far away. Well, it seems so far away. So opponent plays another tapped castle. Awkward mana situation for him. No land that turn, so we're still pretty far away from Lochmere. Land for the opponent. And he gets down a Rankle. So he could get Rankle in here. Of course, we'll play down our... And he sees what's in our hand, so I don't think he's going to swing into that necessarily. Even if he does, he can make us discard maybe, make us draw. So we get down Blacklance Paragon. I usually like to flash it in as a blocker, but I want to increase the clock here. And I don't think he will block the Blacklance Paragon. I don't think he wants to lose a Rankle to 3-1. So that should be 3 damage on most turns that it can stay out. Good deal all day for us. And now a Narset, so definitely some sort of control game here being played by the opponent. Digs in his deck. Gotta hope that he doesn't find some sort of sweeper. Gets a 3 mana. That's a Planeswalker you don't see too much. That's not something that you prepare for. We're 1 mana away from Lochmere here. One of our big win conditions for this deck is Lochmere Serpent. Also going off with the Slitherwisp, playing multiple 1 to 2 mana flash spells with 2 Slitherwisps out is another win condition. We'll go ahead and draw here, and we do find the land that we need. And also the weenie strategy, we're not going to end up drawing more than 1 card a turn anytime soon. But the small creature strategy has worked for me in the past too, chipping away at the life total, messing with your opponent's creatures, and just doing the weenie thing is another way the deck can win. A lot less exciting that way, but still an effect. We're willing to get rid of the Spectral Sailor here. Thought about maybe bouncing the Rankle, but we'll save the bounce. We'll go ahead and block with the Spectral Sailor. We don't mind losing it because we're going to get a much larger threat here. And the opponent now passing the turn with all his mana up. So that's an interesting play. 6 mana up for our opponent. We play Lochmere for 5. Uncounterable. So a kill spell might be incoming, but he passes and we draw a protection spell. So that should be enough to put the game away. We'll go ahead, swing out for 12 damage. Don't even need to spend the unblockable mana. And a Lochmere for our opponent. So he still flashed it in before the blocker step, so he wasn't able to declare it as a blocker, and that'll be game right there. So it's 2-1 so far. Some pretty bad Dimir control deck, but glad to see something other than the Rakdos Sacrifice or Reclamation. You know, somebody actually working and perfecting a new deck, and I appreciate that, and hope to see another great Dimir deck out there one day soon. So next game against Kaiser Luger. Got a good mana, good series of cards to play. Pelt Collector. So this could be aggro, adventure, something. Okay, it might be a mono green Stompies type deck. Stonecoil Serpent. I've been seeing a lot of that in ranked lately. It's a popular card. We'll go ahead and block the 2 with our face and send out the Sailor. Unfortunately, we can't get in with it right now, but we'll hold it up and see what happens here. A Love-Struck Beast. So that's interesting. He must have a 1/1 in hand. Opponent goes ahead and he swings in. So we'll get rid of the Stonecoil Serpent here. So we have a lot of flyers and we want to be able to fly in overhead. So the plan here is we'll leave up some blockers. The plan here is to get down the Cunning Nightbonder and then play a reduced spell. We could Cunning Nightbonder and do another Singer and get rid of the Love-Struck Beast here. That seems like a good idea. So we'll go ahead and do that. So we have 5 mana, so it'll hit for 0 with our 5 blue mana symbols, and we can hit it for exactly 5. So again, we'll block the other 3 with our face, which doesn't feel good, but it's better than taking 8, let me tell you. Thought he might have a way to pump there for a moment, but he goes ahead and takes the loss. Draw another land. We got 3 cards that could help turn the game in our favor, but only enough mana to play 2 of them. So we got the Wildborn Preserver coming down. And he blocks the Sailor, so we're going to go ahead and get some card draw in. We're going to go over. We want to start getting some licks of damage in. I'm not too scared of a 2-mana damage removal. Brineborn Cutthroat's pretty interesting. We need to get that down and play a bunch of stuff in succession. So Vivian comes down. He could start distributing counters. He wants to get rid of our Sea-Dasher, so we'll just make that difficult for him. And the opponent passes, so here we could pump our Brineborn quite a bit. We'll go ahead and we'll get Vivian off the board. We don't need him growing his creatures. We might lose our Sea-Dasher, and really, I'm okay with that right now. I think it's more important to keep our opponent's options low than it is to keep the card draw. And we have another source of card draw in our hand right now in the Spectral Sailor. So the opponent is going to skip his combat step. Plays everything out. So we'll get down Brineborn, get down Spectral Sailor, grow him. And we'll get down the Cunning Nightbonder and grow the Brineborn again. And we get a bounce spell. So pretty good. Pretty good showing right now. We can bounce, get in for 2, bounce one of our opponent's creatures. I hate to say it, but we'll probably do the Lovestruck Beast. Another Vivian. So he's shown that he wants to remove our threats. Yep, so this is a perfect situation for us. We'll make him waste his Planeswalker. And he'll make another 1/1, so we'll get the Planeswalker down here. We'll throw our card down. We'll also get in for some damage to his face. And that's it. The opponent's seen enough. So, good game there for Mono Green. We're up 3-1, and we're going to go into the last game here against our opponent, Chivalry Man 2. And a great avatar, just a great choice. Good taste. I have a good feeling about this guy. Chivalry is not dead, at least not yet. Give me a few minutes and we'll work on that. Lame joke, but whatever. So we're gonna, we want to get threats down early. We're not sure what we're up against here. As he plays a Triome and another Triome. Safest time to get down your tap lands right at the beginning of the game when you're not playing anything anyway. So we'll get our threat down. And the opponent opts. Takes the top card. It could be a land he was digging for. Again, we want to be able to get our Nightbonder down possibly. Maybe bounce something. Probably get some card draw in is what I'm thinking, but we'll see. So, 3 land being shown by the opponent. We'll get the Nightbonder down. Then maybe we can do 2 things next turn. We could get the Sea-Dasher on and then leave up for either a bounce or a Scorching Dragonfire. So, never mind, we can play 1 spell. So we'll go ahead. I like playing the tap land here because we're not missing out on anything. We need to bottom the land. We're getting plenty of land right now. We need more things to do. Chip away for 1. And Fabled Passage for the opponent. Again, I hope this is a good showing for the Dimir Flash deck, and you guys kind of see what it is we're going for here. We're keeping it low to the ground, and I think Starlit Mantle is underrated. I think there is better stuff. You could take that out for a counter spell. Would be a good play. But the Mystic Subdual, I think, is a great card. It's maybe not a great removal piece, but I like it for what it is. Here we get to keep 2 mana up. If we have to protect our sailor, we can do that. If we need to bounce a potential blocker, we can do that. So I like doing what we're doing here. And the opponent's definitely thinking about answering what we're doing. And chooses not to, but he might wait till the attack step. And okay, so he's gonna bounce. We're gonna see if we can't get his Brazen Bower into the graveyard and still get to draw our card. That would be a nice situation. The opponent is thinking, and okay, so he's going to use the expansion side of Expansion Explosion. So this probably another Reclamation deck. We do get him to lose his 2 cards to our 1, but we lose tempo. And there it is, Reclamation. So not in a great spot against Reclamation. He doesn't have as many lands out as I'm sure he would like, but it's going to be a tough uphill battle from here. He does only have 2 cards in hand. He doesn't have any castles out. And opponent's turn, draws. Land for the opponent. Cycles another land. I'm thinking here we should have bounced the Reclamation there. Or set a stop somewhere, but we should have definitely bounced, I think, the Reclamation back to his hand, make him play it back out before he gets to untap. I was thinking that there would be a stop somewhere, but really got to get into the habit of setting our own stops. So we'll go ahead and bounce it now, make him play it back out next turn, maybe prevent him from being able to do some things that he wants to do next turn, that is. So potentially explosion for 4, maybe a shark typhoon, not sure. Opponent doesn't seem too sure. Thassa's Intervention. So we're going to go ahead. He has 1 card in hand. I don't want him to draw a counter. So we're going to try to do the Sea-Dasher thing now. And the opponent is going to play another Thassa's Intervention. So did get him to tap out. He gets to look at the top 3 cards and put 2 in hand. Interesting plays here by the opponent. Okay, so we know he has a Reclamation in hand. We can get down the Nightbonder and try to prevent any further counters. And we got to start chipping away at the life total. Get our opponent on a clock. Potentially next turn. And start swinging in for 6 and get him on a 3-turn clock. But 3 turns for Wilderness Reclamation is an eternity. So I imagine Wilderness Wreck is going to come down here. There it is. Be nice if we were running counter spells. It'd be a good time to counter. He was probably thinking the same thing, but I'm running a counterless Dimir deck. A rarity to be sure. So the opponent, 2 cards in hand, and he gets 3 mana, so he could explosion here for 6. And I imagine it's probably what's coming. He needs to refill his hand, get some gas. As do we. We need to find a way to draw and fast. And a Shark Typhoon cycles it for... We're going to go ahead and draw. Blacklance is okay. We can tether his Shark Typhoon to the ground and block it with the Blacklance and turn it into our benefit. Well, we have twice the chances to do that now. So let's do that. Let's tether it to the ground. We can then get in with our Spectral Sailor. Again, we need to get a faster clock on our opponent here. So the opponent now 3 cards in hand. Drew yet another land, so if he does have the explosion, it's getting bigger and bigger. You could currently do it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, and he plays Shark Typhoon. He casts the spell side of it here, and he'll go ahead and get in. We're gonna gain life while we can. So that'll put us up to 21. And he gets to untap. We're going to hopefully play our creatures not into a wipe. Let's leave Brazen Bower behind until we see what our opponent's doing. And it looks like he's gonna scry. Okay. We can live with the scry, so he needs to find what he's looking for. 2 to the bottom would be a good sign here. And that's exactly what he does, so lucking out a little bit. So let's get down our last spell. And we can do 3, 6, 9 damage. Put him, he needs to find an answer now. So let's see what he draws. This could be for the game. Just holding our own against the scry here is a good sign, I believe. But really holding our own against Wilderness Reclamation and yet another game. He does find something he likes, so if he might have a card draw here, an opt would help him. Thassa's Intervention could do that for a ton, get really deep. Another castle. And passing the turn and another win. So thank you for watching. We went 4-1. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.